The Makabayan coalition files an impeachment complaint against President Bongbong Marcos with the House of Representatives. This is the second impeachment rap against Marcos after lawyer Andre De Jesus filed the first complaint on January 19. Makabayan earlier attempted to file the impeachment complaint against Marcos on Thursday, January 22. However, the Office of the House Secretary General refused to accept the complaint, while House Secretary General Cheloy Garafil was out of the country. Lawmakers from the Makabayan bloc and members of progressive groups returned on Monday, January 26, to file the complaint. They confirmed that the Office of the House Secretary General has now accepted their impeachment complaint against Marcos. ACT Teachers Party List Representative Antonio Tino says their complaint was already forwarded to House Speaker Boji D. According to Tino, D himself informed him and other Makabayan complainants that he received their complaint. He adds that D asked that Makabayan's complaint be included in the order of business. Makabayan's complaint focuses on the BBM parametric formula, which they said provided the justification for presidential and congressional infrastructure project allocations in the national budget. They said this was supposedly the basis for kickbacks or commitments.
May arguments in the second impeachment complaint that is not included in the first one. Now, just to summarize, yung tatlo po na yan, yung reference to the direct testimony ni DPWH Undersecretary Bernardo na may 8 billion pesos na tinatanggap si President Marcos Jr. No? Bilang kickbacks. Number 2, yung paggamit po ng BBM parametric formula bilang institutional policy of widespread plunder. And number 3, yung unprogrammed appropriations and yung supporting evidence po nito na hindi po kita sa first impeachment complaint.
Meanwhile, De Jesus mentioned in his complaint 6 grounds, which he said merit culpable violation of the Constitution, graft and corruption, and betrayal of public trust. However, several lawmakers argued the first impeachment complaint against Marcos is weak. House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos is pledging to recuse himself from discussions on the impeachment of his father, President Bongbong Marcos. In a statement on Monday, January 26, Representative Marcos says his recusal will preserve the integrity of the process and maintain public trust in the existing accountability mechanisms. He says this is despite the rules of the House not requiring him to step aside. According to Representative Marcos, he is confident in the independence and professionalism of his colleagues in the House. He says he recognizes that leadership sometimes calls for restraint rather than participation. The lawmaker stresses that his recusal will ensure that no question may be raised about the fairness, objectivity, or legitimacy of the process. On January 19, lawyer Andre De Jesus filed the first impeachment complaint against President Marcos. Pusong Pinoy Party List Representative Journey Jet Nisay endorsed the first impeachment complaint. In his 14-page complaint, De Jesus cited 6 grounds which he said constitute culpable violation of the Constitution, graft and corruption, and betrayal of public trust. The Makabayan coalition filed a second impeachment complaint against Marcos on Monday. Makabayan's complaint focused on the so-called BBM parametric formula. This refers to a Department of Public Works and Highways policy standing for baseline, balanced, managed. The coalition also cited alleged kickbacks received by Marcos and several cabinet officials. Malacanang says 3 more Bureau of Immigration personnel were sacked over the alleged special treatment given to Russian vlogger Vitaly Zadorovetsky during his stay at the Bureau's detention facility. In a briefing on Monday, January 22, Castro said the head of the BI warden facility submitted a courtesy resignation that has already been accepted, while 2 deputy wardens were dismissed from their posts.
Sa ngayon po, dahil inutos din po ng Pangulo na magkaroon ng malalimang pag-iimbestiga rito, 3 po ang tinanggap na po ang courtesy resignation. 1 warden at 2 deputies. At sa ngayon po ay pinag-iinting pa rin po ang pag-iimbestiga patungkol po dito ng Bureau of Immigration.
BI spokesperson Dana Sandoval confirms these removals over a Bagong Pilipinas Ngayon interview.
Bukod po doon sa 3 na naalis po sa pwesto noong nakaraang taon, there were 3 already na mukhang may involvement sa ganito pong mga kalakaran. One is, there were 2 contractual personnel and 1 organic personnel po. Yung isang contractual ay terminated na ang kanyang serbisyo with the BI. The 2 others were removed from their posts. Ngayon po, inanunsyo lang ng ating butihing commissioner na tinanggap na po niya ang courtesy resignation ng head po ng BI Wardens Facility. as well as inalis na rin po sa pwesto yung dalawang deputies, yung dalawang in charge doon sa dalawang facility po natin.
Following his deportation on January 17, the Russian vlogger posted photos and videos taken while under the local authorities' custody. During a live stream with American online personality Aiden Ross on January 23, Zdorovetsky said he had a phone while he was in jail and vlogged his experience there. He added that he will supposedly expose corruption, saying money talks in the Philippines. Citing a conversation with the Bureau of Immigration, Castro says the Russian vlogger was only permitted to use the phone to speak with his family. However, using it to shoot videos was prohibited. She adds that the incident remains under investigation.
Alam naman po ng bawat ahensya, ng lahat ng heads ng ahensya, alam din po ng bawat kawani ng gobyerno na nais ng Pangulo na malinis ang gobyerno ito mula sa korupsyon. So dapat lamang sila ay naaayon sa kagustuhan ng Pangulo. Dahil kung hindi po sila aayon sa kagustuhan ng Pangulo na maging malinis ang gobyerno mula sa korupsyon, maaari sila matanggal sa pwesto. Kung mahal nila ang kanilang trabaho at mahal nila ang bayan, sundin lamang po nila ang utos ng Pangulo.
Zdorovetsky was arrested in April 2025 for disruptive behavior, including harassing a security guard and commandeering a tricycle, which he later crashed into a parked jeepney. He was declared an undesirable alien and deported to Russia on January 17 this year. Senator Bato Dela Rosa once again fails to attend the Senate session, extending his absence from the chamber since November last year. When the chamber reconvened on Monday, January 26, only 22 senators were present in the hall. Dela Rosa was the lone absentee, while Senate Minority Leader Alan Peter Cayetano arrived late. In an ambush interview before the session opened, Senate President Tito Soto said he has not heard from Dela Rosa. In fact, Soto says he wondered how Dela Rosa was able to sign the report submitted by the minority bloc regarding the Blue Ribbon panel hearings on the flood control scandal.
Hindi pa wala akong, I have not heard any information from Senator Bato. I was wondering paano siya nakapir na doon sa minority opinion. I think that's how we should describe it. It's the minority opinion. It's not a report because a report has to be in the main committee itself.
When Soto was further pressed if Dela Rosa did get in touch with him, the Senate President answers in the negative. Dela Rosa has been absent in a Senate session since November 11 in light of the alleged issuance of an International Criminal Court arrest warrant against him. He earlier broke his silence on social media for his 64th birthday on January 21. He said he is alive, well, and gratefully celebrating his God-given life. According to Dela Rosa, he is waiting for true justice to emerge and take over amid what he describes as the threat of fake and foreign meddling. He said allowing himself to be arrested and tried by a foreign court is like turning his back on the Filipinos' fight for independence. Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla reiterated on January 14 that there was still no ICC warrant for Dela Rosa's arrest. The senator was the Philippine National Police Chief from 2016 to 2018 under President Rodrigo Duterte. Duterte was arrested and turned over to the ICC in March 2025 for crimes against humanity committed during his administration's war on drugs.